Hello, everybody. I'm Ricky Smith. Welcome to Faith on Friday Presents. At Faith on Friday Presents, we're all about highlighting inspiring people, engaging topics, and small businesses. And while you're here, don't forget, like, subscribe, and share this YouTube channel, as well as like our Facebook page and follow us on Instagram. You never know what you're going to miss. All right. All right. So you hear about it all the time, right? Everybody should be it. Everybody should chase it. Everybody needs to have one. What are we talking about? Leadership. Well, yeah, leadership is a whole thing. And there are men leaders, female leaders, there are child leaders. But what does it take to be a leader? And not just a leader, but what about a leader that's female? Everybody, I want to introduce you to somebody who's going to talk to us all about it. Y'all, please say hello to Coach Queen. Hey, Queen, how are you today?
Hello, hello. Thank you so much for this Southern hospitality. That's right.
Well, girl, you know, I am from that area, so it's what we do. Queen, I'm so excited to have you here. I've been trying to get you on this show forever, and I'm so grateful that you have the time and that you said yes. So thank you so much for being here.
Yes.
All right, my
Thank you.
friend. So today we're talking about women in leadership. But before we get started, Coach Queen, tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're located.
Thank you. First of all, Ricky, thank you so much for having me on Faith on Fridays. It still amazes me that great women like yourself ask me and invite me to be on your platforms because there was a time in my life when I had a speech impediment and I completely let it destroy my confidence when it came time to speak up in rooms like this. I remember when I was in the Navy, I would give instructions to the members of my team, and they would all look up at me with these confused looks. They didn't understand me, and I would feel so ashamed, so embarrassed. But I got out of the Navy and I raised my right hand and I enlisted into the United States Army. And I started having these visions of speaking to hundreds, maybe even thousands. But then this inner critic, it would surface and it would say, how you gonna speak to hundreds when
Mm,
you can't even get through a sentence? How you gonna speak to thousands
wow.
when you don't even speak up in meetings?
Hmm.
We have a tendency to desire bigger and better, but then as soon as bigger and better shows up, we're like, nope, it's not for me.
Right.
But turns out, Ricky, yes, I was the run for the job. Turns out
Hmm.
that odds are absolutely made for beating. I retired from the Army as the first African American female in field artillery history to earn the rank of first sergeant. Later
Awesome.
on, I opened up two of El Paso's first completely all vegan restaurants. And I am the founder of the Proverbs 31 Powerhouse initiative. I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia, but I'm doing all of this from the beautiful, hot area of El Paso, Texas. So,
All of that and then some. First
yes.
of all, thank you for your amazing service. I knew that you were in the military and I knew that you were retired, but man, I didn't know you were the first African American female, this, and that. Girl, you are more amazing than I even knew. I'm
Thank you.
so
To God
excited.
be the
No,
glory.
thank
Thank
you. And I do remember your restaurants. It was called the Queen's Table. I
you.
had
Yeah,
been there a couple of times and I
yeah.
had some food that I did not know it was vegan until we left. It
Yes,
was
we
that good,
tricked a
y'all.
lot of people.
It was so good.
Thank you. Thank you.
So talking about leadership, now where did you learn your leadership style, Coach Queen? Because a lot of people think, they ask the question, are leaders born or are they made? My answer is yes.
Like
What do you say?
evolution, right? Yes, absolutely. They are made. They are not born. There are a lot of folks who are walking around up under this tyrannical umbrella of leadership and they believe that they are leaders.
Mhm.
But I will tell you this because and I think I'm gonna kind of for a second go around the world, but I'm gonna answer the question.
Okay.
Now, there are many definitions of leadership out there,
Mhm.
and almost every definition of leadership has some elements of these five components. All right.
Mhm.
And this is how I became a leader.
Okay.
The first component is a leader has vision. You always hear vision. And all a vision is a clear picture of your preferred reality at a higher level.
Oh,
So
I
you got to
love
have
that.
vision. So once I adopted a vision strategy, I was
Mm-hmm.
able to start forming, okay, maybe I could do this leadership thing. The next thing a leadership must have is confidence. And
Mm-hmm.
confidence is one of those interesting words, but I will tell you that confidence is really a cowardice game because there are a
Ooh,
lot of people who won't step up and do what they're supposed to do because they are afraid to fail.
right.
And loves,
Mm-mm.
there is nothing wrong with failing. You
Mm-hmm.
learn to fail forward. And if
Mm-hmm.
you dismiss the process, if you're scared of the process, then my love, you will miss out on some of the biggest, most important lessons of your life. So
True.
confidence. The next thing is character. You got to work on your character because who you are, it thunders way more loudly than any words you will
Mm-hmm.
ever share.
Yeah.
The next thing is you got to work on influence. And I know when we say influence, we're thinking about impacting others. But
Mm-hmm.
this is something that I really had to work on as well. And that was influencing myself.
Oh,
When I
that's so
roll
good.
over in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
do I press the snooze button or do I get up?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So work on influencing yourself. That's something that I had to do
Mm-hmm.
in my leadership development plan. And then
Yeah.
the last thing, because I know I said I was going to give you five, the last thing is that you have to be able to develop others. And that
Mm-hmm.
was something that I had to learn. How do I develop others? How do I connect with people? I work
Mm-hmm.
with a lot of women, and I work with a lot of women who want to work with women. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the problems that I uncover is that there are a lot of women that work with women but don't like women because
Ooh, that right there.
yes,
That right
they
there.
haven't done the work, haven't
Mm-hmm.
done the work. We have
Mm-hmm.
to learn how to connect with
Mm-hmm.
other people. You cannot do anything by yourself. God did not create us this way.
That's
You cannot
true.
do it by yourself. Being a
Mm-hmm.
solopreneur does not mean that you have to go at it alone.
That is so good and so true. You know, one of the things that you mentioned, before you said that you grew up with a speech impediment. And then
Yes.
the thought of being a leader, the inner critic was like, girl, you can't get through a sentence. How did you get over that? Or what did you do to work that out to become the powerhouse that you are right now?
If anybody asks me, what is the password to go from having this speech impediment to
Mm-hmm.
being able to speak up in rooms, I
Mm-hmm.
would tell them that the password is grace.
Mm, I
It's
like
grace.
it. Yeah.
I had to allow more of him in, less of me, and more of him. And as soon as I figured out that it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
about me,
Right.
I had to get over myself.
And I
And I
like
realized,
that.
oh my goodness,
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a speech impediment. You mean I can actually get through a sentence? I can say
Mm-hmm.
words like ultra-crepidarian without
Yes,
stuttering?
because that's something you use every day.
Right?
Yeah, we need to use that word.
Absolutely.
But that's so good because there are a number of people, women watching this right now, who are entrepreneurs, who are out there doing and making great impact, but they're
Yeah.
struggling not just with their physicality of whether it's a speech impediment, I'm this, that, the other. They're dealing with that inner critic that says, girl,
Yeah.
sit yourself down somewhere. Go sit
Mm,
down. God may have called you, but he didn't call you to this. Go sit
right.
down. What are you telling those women, Coach Queen?
Oh my goodness. I tell them that one is not about you. Here's one of the things that I do for
Mm,
these women who feel like they have a calling, but they feel like they're not good enough and they're dealing with imposter syndrome and they're feeling doubt. One of the things I do is I say, well, congratulations, because if you didn't have these feelings of
mhm.
imposter syndrome, then you probably would be a psychopath. It means that you care. So I'm absolutely fine with that. Come to me
Wow.
and tell me that you absolutely care. I can
Mhm,
work with that.
mhm,
And the next thing I would say, hey, listen, let's sit down. Let's do you a vision treatment. And in
mm.
that
A vision treatment.
vision treatment, yes,
Mm,
I give them the five worthy components of a
mhm,
worthy vision. And
mhm,
the first one is you got to come up with something that is first in alignment with God, because whatever it is that God is calling you to do,
mhm.
God has already planted a natural affinity for it inside.
Right.
right? And we just need to uncover it. He's not going to ask you to do so. Well, I'm not going to say that.
That I was
But
going to say,
chances
don't
are,
go there.
yeah, it is in your wheelhouse 9 times out of 10.
Yes.
So, in other words, there's a reason why you've been through the things that you've been through because God trains and He tutors.
Yeah.
And so that's the first thing, is in alignment with God. The next thing is that it has to be bigger than you. If
Oh, that's
you
so
are the
good.
mindset that, like, oh my goodness, God is calling me to do something, or I'm called to do something, and I'm so scared of it, and it's you feel like somebody has just told you that in 10 years, I want you to climb Mount Everest.
Right.
You feel like, oh my goodness, then it is a worthy vision.
Like
The
that.
next thing is, it should take you at least 10 years to reach fruition in your mind. If it
All right
happens
now.
next, if you find a portal, that's absolutely fine. But if you have the mindset that whatever this calling is, this spiritual gift is, if you feel like, oh my goodness, it's going to take me at least 10 years, I'm like, congratulations, because you now have something that you can spend a lifetime working towards. And I absolutely love that. The
Yeah.
next thing is that the vision can't just serve you, it's got to serve other people. It
That
can't be
part.
just about you. Yes, it absolutely has to be about other people. And so if you're out there solving problems for other people, oh my goodness, what a worthy vision it is.
Yeah,
And then lastly, because I know I said I was going to give you
you
5. I could give
did.
you 20, but I'm going to give you 5. And then lastly, whatever this vision is, it has to need more than your 2 hands. You got to create jobs. You got to delegate. You got to train. That's where that leadership
Oh,
comes in,
yeah.
right? You got to hire. It's got to take more than you. So you need to figure out who you need to call for help.
That's there's so much, Coach Queen, to unpack in that. But one of the things I want to get to is, you said there's more than just you. Your vision, first of all, needs to take like 10 years in your head. And I like that so
Yes.
much because on my desk, I have a sign that says an overnight success can take 10 to 15 years.
Oh, yes,
So
absolutely.
that
Oh
that
my
is right in
goodness.
line with that. And then
Yeah.
another thing you said is it's not just you. If
Yep.
you are the only one building this vision, it's going to be a small vision. But
Yeah.
how do you know that you are the leader for the vision?
Like I said before, one of the ways that you can determine if this vision is for you is if it's something that you've been through. Here's the deal.
I like that.
You are called to solve a problem. Everybody, you're here to solve a problem, right? Chances are, whatever that problem is, it is something that you've already gone through.
That's good.
So one of the things that I recommend is to sit down with pen and paper, coffee or tea in a quiet space, and you take your pen and you list out
Right?
everything you've been through in life. I mean, everything. The time somebody borrowed money and they didn't pay you back.
Come on now.
The time that daddy said he was going to come get you, but it's been like 2 years and he still ain't showed up, right? The time you were homeless, when you were living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, nothing gets wasted.
Yeah.
Write it all down and make this long list. And then I want you to sit and look at it and give it a panoramic view. And then I want you to take that pen and just draw a gentle line through the things where you're like, oh, I went through it. God gave me victory. But you know what? I don't necessarily want to help people with that.
Okay, that's good.
And then I want you to look at what's left.
Mm-hmm.
And then I want you to pray over it. Because again, a vision, you want to make sure it aligns with his will.
Right.
You look at it and see, oh my goodness, God, there's a reason. There is a reason you let me go through that. Because now you can be somebody else's survival guide. You can
That's
reach back
good.
and you don't have to close 1,001 knowledge gaps in order to do it. Because people need solutions to everyday problems. They don't
Yeah.
need your rocket science.
That's so
Everyday
good.
problems. Yes.
That, and again, so as a public speaking coach, I do this same exercise with my clients. Mostly
Beautiful.
when we're working on their signature talk. Because like you said, we're people. And
Yeah.
and specifically we're women. We have gone through some things to get here.
Yes.
And the thing that you think that you want to help people with, you need to, first of all, in my opinion, come from a place of healed. Do not come
That's
from a place
right.
necessarily of healing, because you will do some
Yes.
things outside that because you're not done yet. You know what I mean? So I love this exercise. Queen, at what point in your life, your career, did you stand up and say, you know what? Not only am I a leader, I am a leader of women who are looking to do something. When did that moment strike you?
Oh my goodness. It was a warrior moment. I remember it was 2014. I was in Camp Korea.
Mm,
Keep in mind, I had already been a leader, but
mm-hmm,
it struck me that I really wanted to reach back and make helping women a part of my legacy.
mm-hmm.
This was the time I had just, keep in mind, I was field artillery. For
Right.
those of you of your audience who don't know, field
Mm-hmm.
artillery is a male-dominated sector.
Yes, it is.
And so I'm in Camp Casey, Korea, and I'm at a field artillery budget meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And after the meeting was over with, I walk outside. I'm a first sergeant. I walk outside, I get to the corner, and a sergeant major, a command sergeant major, stops me, and I get at the perfect parade rest,
Sure.
which is what you're supposed to do when you're
Mm-hmm.
speaking to your superior.
Mm-hmm.
And this sergeant major proceeds to tell me, and keep in mind, I had just gotten to the unit. I only been there for like maybe 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
Sergeant major proceeds to tell me, we don't want you here. And as a matter of fact, before you
Wow.
got here, before we even met you, just based off your impeccable records,
Mm-hmm.
we tried to get you moved. And I sat there, First Sergeant Ozza. I just sat there and I took it and I took it and I took it.
Mm-hmm.
And when he was done, he walked away. And as he walked away, I knew that I had a few options. I could call Branch and say, get me out of here. I'm not
Right.
trying to be a girl's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Or I could do something else.
Mm-hmm.
And this Grinch of a smile just appeared on my face like, I can do something else.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I did was I marched myself to my commander's office, not to tattletale,
Mm-hmm.
but I marched myself to my commander's office and I knocked on the door. Sir, you got a moment.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, come on in, First Sergeant. And I walked in. I said, hey, listen, because I knew that it was OER time, Officer
Sure.
Evaluation Report time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is a time where he needs to look good so he can make the next level, go general and stuff like that.
Exactly.
And so I knew that I had to package it in such a way that it was to his benefit so that my will could be done.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said to him, sir, listen, I got this wonderful idea. Listen, I want to launch the biggest and baddest mentorship group,
Mm-hmm.
mentorship event for females here in Camp Casey.
Mm-hmm.
And we're gonna bus folks in from different camps, and we're gonna have motivational speakers, and I'm gonna call the media, and it's gonna be great. And just in time, sir, because it is OER time,
All
and
right.
the whole entire camp, the whole of Korea is gonna be buzzing with our unit's name. Oh my goodness, you're gonna look good. And
Mm-hmm.
also, this tiny little thing that I need, which is to uplift women, that's gonna happen too.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, but First Sergeant, we don't have enough money for that. And I said to him, well, we just left a budget meeting. And that very same Sergeant Major who
Mm-hmm.
told me we didn't want you here, I
Right.
remember him saying that he had an extra $30,000 in his budget. He was going to use it for barracks. So here I go. Well, you know what, sir? I just left a budget meeting and Sergeant Major Dennis has $30,000 and he's just going to use it for a barracks. I'm not sure, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Does nice, fabulous barracks, shiny floors look better than you outreaching and mentoring to all
Nice
females of
play.
Korea? I'm not so sure, sir. He said, First Sergeant is yours. I walked out seeing the bigger picture of what
Sure.
the problem was, and I also walked out with that Sergeant Major's funding. And
Mm-hmm.
so I launched the biggest and the baddest mentorship group
Yeah.
and motivational speakers. It was amazing. And it was probably the best day and the worst day of my life
Yeah.
simultaneously. And so it was
Mm-hmm.
amazing. And I realized then that the things that I went through as a leader, that it wasn't about me. It was
Yeah.
about the people that I meant to reach back and
To
help.
reach back. I love that story so much because I see in my mind's eye, so I was in the army, but I was in Camo, but I was in Camo in an infantry unit, which basically meant I was in the field all the time. But I see a command sergeant major talking down, if you will, to a female first sergeant, and that female first sergeant coming back and taking all your money.
Taking it all.
Yay,
Yes.
you. That being said, so Coach Queen, what about the women who I don't own a business, I
Mhm.
just go to work, I raise my kids, I mop the floors and walk the dogs. Can I
Mm.
be considered a leader, really?
Oh,
What do you say to
yes.
her?
Oh, absolutely. There are a lot of women out there who don't necessarily own businesses, who
Hmm.
feel like they're not leadership. As a matter of fact, about a year ago, I got together with some women who wanted to branch out into multi-level marketing, and
Hmm.
they felt like, okay, this is a business where we grow teams, but I have no leadership experience. But
Hmm.
when we peel back the layers, we were able to extract leadership experience from the way that they ran their household
There
to
you
the
go.
logistics and the resources. We were able to extract leadership experiences from their time in the PTA, when they assisted as a soccer mom or a cheerleading
Hmm.
mom. It was amazing because we were able to take those lemons and not only make lemonade, but make lemon pie and lemon cookies and lemon everything. So it was amazing. Trust me,
Yeah.
it is there.
So it's like, it's not that you don't have it, it's just bringing it out,
That's
uncovering it.
right. Right.
Yeah, reworking it. Okay, so
Yes.
now, Coach Queen, talk to our young girls. I am graduating high school. I am
Mhm.
going to college. I'm graduating college. I'm going to my very first job. The only
Yes.
leadership I've ever had is leading myself to class on time. Am I
Mm.
a leader or am I a leader in training? Talk to
Oh,
her.
oh, absolutely. I love it. And it depends on the person.
Hmm.
This is one of the things that I would say, because for that woman, I would say to you that it is up to you to give yourself that label. I do a lot of marketing, and when I market, one of the
Hmm.
things that I learned the hard way was I don't use the word leaders. I
Hmm.
used to say six figure minded, faith driven women who are
Hmm.
leaders. But a
Right.
lot of women, even if they're in supervisory positions, they don't walk around calling themselves leaders, which is really interesting.
Hmm.
So, one, I would extract the elements of a leader, which is the five components that
Hmm.
I gave you before. Go in and extract it and evaluate it to determine if you're a leader.
I
And
like
that
that.
would absolutely help you to
Hmm.
determine where you are on this Richter scale called leadership.
Yeah, that's such great advice. One more question before we get to something else. So you're looking at leadership and females and all the things that we have to be and do to be who we are anyway. How important is mentorship and networking?
Oh, valuable. Oh my goodness, so valuable. On a scale of 1 to 10, I
Hmm.
would say that those two things are about 100.
Right.
Because again, you cannot do this
Hmm.
without people. It takes people.
That's
So yeah,
right.
mentorship is absolutely important.
Hmm.
It's interesting because there was a time where women, decades ago,
Hmm.
where there was only a handful of jobs
Sure.
for women, right? You have all these
Hmm.
women, it's a handful of jobs. And so we were just competing with each other, and it was
Yeah.
cutthroat and the water was really choppy and bloody.
Hmm.
But now it's not like that. Now it's like, oh my goodness, I can go and apply for almost any job and I can even create a
That's
glass
right.
a job. You mean to tell me there really are no glass ceilings? No. And so I say all that to say that if you are a leader, if you are a supervisor,
Hmm.
I want to spin this and say that mentorship and networking is very important. And it's so important that you reach back.
Hmm.
You don't have to compete with your subordinates. You don't have to compete
Yeah.
with your mentees. Root for
Hmm.
them. It is so important because
Hmm.
you do not have to compete with
I
them
like
at
that.
all.
I agree with that 100%. You and I have chatted before over the years. And one of the things I love to say to myself, my clients, and my friends, there is enough men,
Yes,
jobs, shoes, and money. We don't have to compete for any of it.
absolutely.
I am just not about it. Coach
Mhm.
Queen, there's so much here in you that you have to offer and that you're willing to give. If someone wanted to reach out to you or connect with you and continue this conversation, where's the best place for them to find you?
Oh my goodness, yes. So if you open up your internet and type in the following words in your internet browser, therehearsalstage.com. That's therehearsalstage.com. You can come over there and hang out with us. We don't pitch you there. It is a place where you can come and just 10x your speaking skills, your coaching game, whether you have a service-based business or a product-based business. Listen, you can come here and you can practice for life's high stakes presentation in a very safe space. So come on and hang out with us.
I like that so much. Don't worry, y'all. If you did not get her contact information, everything's going to be in the description below. And don't forget, subscribe to this YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook, and like our Instagram page. Coach Queen, my friend, before I let you go, we got to play a game.
Let's do it.
Okay, so this game is super simple. It's called What's Your Favorite? I'm just going to
Okay.
ask you a couple of things and you just tell me what your favorite is. Are you
Okay.
ready to play, my friend?
Ready.
Let's do this. Okay, what is your favorite time of year?
Ooh, I love summertime.
Girl, we live in El Paso. It is hot as fish grease here.
Well, that's when the kids are out of school. That's when I can really have my mommy-daughter time. That's when we traveling. As a matter of fact, we're getting ready to go out of the country now. So
Nice, I love it. What's your favorite Olympic sport?
Olympic business. Business is the most competitive sport you will ever enter.
I
Oh
like
my
it. It's
goodness.
not
Very
quite
few
yet
make
an
it.
Olympic sport,
For
but
me,
yes.
it is because I know nothing about sports. I don't know basketball or football or track or anything.
I
So
like it. Business is it is competitive
it
and it
is the
probably
most
should be a
competitive
sport.
sport.
I love it.
Yes.
What is your favorite piece of advice that you've ever given?
Oh, yes. Prayer changes things.
Mm, so good. That is so good.
Mhm.
What is your favorite article of clothing?
Ooh, oh my goodness, my head wrap. I
I
love
was going
my
to
head
say
wrap.
that is signature for
Yes,
you, Queen. That is everywhere you go,
yes.
every picture you have the coolest head wraps.
Thank
I'm
you.
telling you that if you weren't picking that, I was going to pick that for you.
It is my unicorn.
Yes, I love it so much. What is your favorite genre of movies?
Oh my goodness. Psychological thrillers.
Really?
Mm.
Okay.
Psych-
I would have picked you for something different, I guess. I don't know
Oh,
why, but I would
yes.
have. All right. And finally, my friend, what would you tell your 13-year-old self right now?
Oh my goodness. Baby girl, turn off that silence and switch to siren. Your voice matters. You are needed. There are so many people that you can help. We just need you to speak up.
I like that. From